Hello, hello, hello. So it's said. So it's said. So it's Hold on. So it's said in life that nobody sees really the struggle that will get you to point A to point B, but everybody will see your success and see you celebrate your success and want to be a part of your success. But nobody sees the struggle or the hustle or the things you put in there to try to put in the work and stuff to get to point A to point B. I mean, some of my work and stuff I was trying to do was jeopardized because I was forced to be in a social situation with a mental health program with clients that did not want me to succeed and kind of force some things and try to, really kind of create situations that kind of disrupted my, things that kind of disrupted my chances to work with a couple of people here in town because of because they didn't want me to have those successes or those opportunities to be able to work with people in town and stuff like that because I was actually one time in with the Performance Hub. I was one time in. Well, my Taquanas is my fault, but Taquanas is kind of my fault in a way, but really not even really my fault. I mean, I walked out of there because I was being abused and kind of verbally and emotionally being manipulated and abused, kind of like and used for it, because I was trying to be overly caring and respectful and trying to really extend my heart and my services to her. And she used that to her advantage and was going to use that to her advantage and really was going to try to use me, in ways that ways that she was, in ways where I was giving her an inch and she was going to take extra miles out of, Um, but I've had a couple of ex-girlfriends that are like, you haven't really worked for anything in your life. You haven't really worked. You haven't really, put in the efforts and the time to really work for anything. But I put in the work as far as painting. I put in the work as far as like my writing. I put in the work as far as like trying to go to open mics and trying to socialize and trying to do all the socialization and social shit you need to do to, network and stuff to see if people would try to support you and, and then try to network with you to social, yeah, to show support and etc. I can't fucking talk tonight, but to show support and etc. So, and yet I'm being told I'm the one who doesn't do the work. I'm the one who doesn't put in the work to, make much effort when it comes to trying to really, get my goals met and stuff like that. Sure, for a while it's been on and off. It's been on and off on me not being able to fully have a full-time job. I mean, occasionally I've had little part-time jobs here and there. I mean, I've even gotten little part-time jobs or little part-time situations where I volunteered my time to even volunteer my time at the local gallery down here, helping them out at the local gallery. I volunteered my time at the local radio station. I mean, there was a couple things I did around here that, it was volunteer work, and there was other times, a couple of other things I did where I took a couple of part-time temporary jobs just for some stipend type of checks, just for a little bit of a stipend check to get me by and to to do what I had to do to to help me financially. So it's not like I haven't taken jobs. I mean, I've done certain situations where I've gotten money in return for the work that I've done, but I mean, people say, "Oh, could you take a full blown job? Are you capable of like full blown working in an actual like store in an actual working environment and stuff like that?" I'm thinking to myself, like, I don't know, because I think everybody says to me too, I don't have the proper training. You don't have the proper training. You don't have the proper training, but I don't have the proper mental health services to have the proper people to train me. It's not me. It's not just about me. It's about the services that I get, not having the proper people there and having the proper services to provide for the proper training in the first place. Or the things that are really going to work for me and my benefit. I've been talking to somebody who had to be taken out of public schools and had to go to a private school because he had a hard time in public schools because of his, disability and his autism and the stuff that, transpired in the past. I had to be pulled from public school to go to a private school because of, my mental health and my mental health struggles and my disability and stuff, that I had to be pulled out of class to go to a whole nother, but I eventually ended up succeeding. I eventually ended up succeeding when I finally met some of the right teachers and stuff. I eventually ended up succeeding in my high school years, where I actually eventually ended up making the grade and actually being able to get my high school diploma. I mean, they were still kind of working with the curriculum for Naugatuck High School, because Naugatuck High School was still going to give me my diploma, through them. They were still going to give me my diploma through Naugatuck High School, but which they did, but you know I mean, I know what happens when the right people try to, treat you properly and approach you properly, and you want to inspire you properly and stuff. I know when the right people do that, miracles and things could happen. If the person isn't fully right, or if the person isn't fully acting right, then nobody is really, truly going to really excel, because there's something not working. If there's something not working, it's just not going to work. And that goes whether it's just me trying to, advance in the arts and trying to get a job and trying to do all the stuff I can to try to maintain being an artist and stuff by getting a job and trying to put in the work for my poetry and art and stuff like that. Or it's the same thing with me dealing with the state of Connecticut, which is why I'm kind of frustrated with the state of Connecticut a little bit. I'm not trying to harp too much on the frustrations. I'm trying to let it go and trying to learn to forgive a little bit, but I can't really be naive in my forgiving either, because I feel like, we give them an inch, they can take a mile. Or at least that's what it felt like. I was giving the state of Connecticut an inch and they were taking a mile with what I had to say. And it's kind of like the same thing with Taquana. It's like when I worked for Taquana Soul Food and Sweets here in town, a couple years or months after she opened up as a local business, and I started going down there supporting her as a supporter, which my mistake of, switching from a supporter to, an actual employee, because once I shifted to an employee, a lot of stuff went downhill, and I wasn't even supposed to be an official employee. She kept making it like I was going to be an official employee. But I couldn't be an official employee. I mean, I told her I could help her out, which I know I could have helped her out with some stuff. I mean, I wasn't, I never worked a restaurant job and stuff in my life. I didn't have the proper training to ever work a restaurant job in my life. I mean, maybe when I was like 16, 15 or something, but that was many years ago, and I haven't really had more training and stuff since then, But, I'm not working with the right people, and people are people. I mean, not everybody's going to get along, and there's people you just don't get along with, and there's people, I just have a problem working with people. People and I have, depending on the person, just in the attitude and the way they approach me and the way the situation is, it's just that situation doesn't work, and it's just not ideal, But it's just the fact that I didn't never. When people say I don't put in the work for my artwork and stuff, that's ridiculous. I mean, I put in the work. I bought the supplies out of my own spending money. I bought the supplies. I painted. I tried to go to open mics. I tried to go to the art gallery openings. I even tried to talk to some of the gallery owners about trying to display my artwork there. Try to figure out what it would take to get my artwork displayed into a gallery and stuff like that. And a lot of stuff that they had to offer really wasn't, beneficial towards people like me, according to the words. People like me in certain situations like me were not really able to be helped or be able to be, told that they could advance and do what they had to do as an artist and as a human being that wanted to be an artist and excel and have kind of a lot more of a professional outlook as an artist and etc. So, and some of that was the mental health clients. For a while there, I was such, everybody was encouraging me and kind of forcing. Well, they weren't really. They're going to claim they weren't forcing me to socialize, but I mean, they really were putting a big emphasis on me trying to socialize with other clients and stuff for my mental health program, and that really went downhill. So for the last 7 or 8 years, I haven't really been socializing too much with mental health clients, but I've been on my own, or I've been talking to people outside of the mental health program or outside of that type of agency that go to other areas of Connecticut or other parts of life that are not necessarily that agency, you know. My mom already said that she doesn't want me going to the hospital for services because I think they're going to try to get me to go to the hospital for services if I want a male counselor. They're going to say, oh, you need to go to you need to go to the hospital for services. And the thing is, my mom knows it and I know it, that the last time I was at the hospital, because I have so much traumatic history with hospitals and stuff, I kind of flipped out at the hospital a little bit, and the hospital almost wanted to just, instantly try to admit me. They instantly wanted to try to admit me into a state hospital without really knowing me or my history and stuff. They just assumed that I was just walling out to wall out and be really crazy and unsafe because I was just naturally sick. But they don't realize the environment of like hospitals in general and the hospital situations in general and you know, people, and not having the freedom to walk or be able to, walk, breathe, or go where you need to go and do what you need to do is a very triggering thing for me. It's a very triggering thing for me. I mean, I'm happy to have my freedom. I'm happy to be able to walk and do what I need to do just to go to the store if I want to. Say if I wasn't feeling well, I could at least go to the store and get myself a drink and clear my head or try to get out of the house, you know? But some people say, oh, if you're really, really not feeling well, we got to, take your freedom and not make you free and make it where you can't even leave or go outside or do a single thing, you know? And I've had several years of that in the past. I've had several years of that in my childhood because they thought I had autism and childhood behavior problems for... and I think it was because, I mean, I want to say I think because I was a very heavily medicated 7-year-old. I was a very heavily medicated 7 or 8-year-old. But you see those commercials back in the day where this little kid and he's angrily walling out and kind of hitting everybody and kind of acting out of control and kind of having some issues, and that was kind of me back in the day. But I have no proof whether or not this is actually true. I mean, I'm still trying to figure out how to really, really kind of reconnect my memory or kind of connect my memory to stuff. But there may be a possibility. I think I might know around the time where there was some issues where there might have been some abuse. There might have been some abuse and things that happened in my life that as a child I wasn't able to process, or something happened, or I don't know what happened at the time, but I'm sure it played a big part of my childhood and how I became heavily medicated and how certain things really did not work for me in my favor. So, I can't say for sure because a lot of my childhood is blacked out, but I kind of have bits of like memories of like dreams and stuff that I've had. And at one point in time, I actually went back to visit where, I used to live, and it was the same place, it was the same area in the dream. It was the same like areas and like scenery in the dream that I was dreaming about and things, but I can't really recall or recollect anything that had happened to me as a child, So I don't know if I need one of those like past life scenario things where they go in your past life to figure out all your traumas and history. But once again, the state, took it upon the state, and it was the 90s and stuff, and mental health was not as advanced and stuff as people would say, and they just threw me on a lot of medications, and they put me in a straitjacket. They put me in a mental hospital as a child. I was a child in like a child's hospital because I was like supposedly nuts as a fucking child because, I had a mother that was really controlling and stuff since the day I was born. She's still controlling, in some aspects of my life now, within the same way. But I mean, she's gotten a lot better. And my relationship with my mother has gotten a little bit better than it used to be, But me as a child, I remember really not always, having some issues with my mother, and I remember really being really upset with my mother, and I think there was a lot of harm and hurt in my heart because I think, I had two aunties. I had two ladies who were aunties too back in the day too, I was told, and I kind of remember them, but they've grown up to be like pastors of a church. They've grown up to be pastors of a church in Waterbury. Well, I don't know, let's say pastors or ushers. Pastors, ushers, or deacons, but they've grown up to be kind of pastors or ushers or deacons of a church in Waterbury, Connecticut. So, and they were sisters. They were sisters, and I always remember them as Auntie Sheila and Auntie Vivian. But they were a big part of raising me in my childhood, and I mean, I almost would like to go back and ask them a lot of questions about what was going on with me back then and back in the day, what was going on back with my childhood, what was going back on with me when it came to my life and my situation of how I was handling things. But the thing is, I think a lot of my childhood was stolen by the state of Connecticut because I was a kid that was acting out and didn't really have a voice as much as I started getting, like, in my late 20s to like 30s. I started getting a voice through like poetry and art and stuff, and started being more outspoken with everything that's happened to me and my words and stuff. That I'm more outspoken with everything, and I'm more vocal about what I might have been through and stuff like that, or just how I feel through poetry and art. But I don't remember much about my childhood traumas. That's always been something that's really been, and the thing is too that once again the state of Connecticut, I think, almost wanted to put me in like some type of other type of facility for like troubled people, because for troubled people who had been abused or something like that, sexually or something. Like I had to be in a troubled camp for guys or whatever, that for people who had been abused, because certain people didn't like certain aspects of me, or etc. But for the most part, I'm just like, fuck it. I'm like, fuck it, because I've put in the work so much in my life. I spent almost like 15 years or more in therapy with like multiple counselors. I've been in and out of therapy since childhood. Unfortunately, I've seen a lot of doctors since childhood, and my mom had paperwork stacked up so high about all the things and paperwork I've been through, and all the negative things the state was saying about me, about what I was doing and how I was doing them and stuff like that, when really I was just a fucking child. My mom was the adult. I mean, if there was really a problem, my mother should have possibly taken more responsibility as the adult. But yeah, as a child, I was the one who got neglected and blamed and pretty much mistreated as a child, being put in situations where I had to feel like I was fucking mentally crazy. I still have to feel like I'm fucking mentally crazy. I don't feel like I want to even use the word crazy. I want to say mental health impaired, but I don't want to use the word crazy. But I mean, there's times I can probably be crazy or go crazy when I get mad and stuff. But that's about based on how people treat me and etc. And then people have to do some things for me to really get to that point to react. But I'm not naturally crazy. I'm not naturally angry unless there's a serious problem, or I'm just really not alright, But the thing is, I put in a lot of effort in artwork. People say it all the time. I mean, my tarot card readers are saying it, that people think because I knew certain people, or I almost knew certain people, or I have connections to certain famous people and stuff like that. Some people feel like I just get everything handed to me and not really work as hard or etc. as some people do to get into the door of other events and stuff. People don't feel like they work, that I don't work as hard to get into other, like, to get into certain events. I don't work as hard and stuff because I just know certain people and stuff like that, and I get everything handed to me, right? But the thing is, my life had a lot of blessings. I think was supposed to have a lot of blessings as far as being an artist and who I was supposed to know and etc. My life was supposed to have a lot of blessings because, God and Spirit know that I've struggled for many, many years with my mental health and etc. I've struggled for many years with my mental health and etc. And I don't really want to struggle anymore or go backwards anymore. And that's my biggest gripe with my case manager, my new case manager now, as he is new. My new case manager now for my mental health. I tell him all the time that I want him to work with me. I want us to agree on things. I want us to be able to level, and I'm giving you an inch to try to figure out how we can make things work and how we can level a bit, but I don't want you to go an extra mile and make me feel like you're just going to magically take the money in my accounts, right? You're just magically going to take over the money in my accounts because they feel I'm not mentally stable enough, or mentally well enough to take my accounts or something, or handle paying my bills, or etc. But, I'm just at this point where I am trying to give people a little bit of an inch. And sometimes when you give people an inch, they really take an extra mile and stuff from you. They try to go a little extra further with everything, and sometimes try to abuse the inch that you give them to try to be nice and try to work with them. And that's kind of how I was feeling. I wasn't feeling that at first, especially not with my case manager, but I felt that way last Friday after I met with the mentor after meeting with the case manager. The mentor kind of was very moody, and he was feeling, because he knew me for 5 years, and he feels that I don't let him in on everything and stuff like that, and something was up, that I had to feel like something had to be wrong with me, or I wasn't doing okay, or there was something that needed to be fixed in my life automatically, or I just wasn't worthy enough to be at a place that I was at, or comfortable at a place that I was at, because something had to be wrong, but that's just basically how I feel, I mean, it's not that I haven't tried to put in the work. It's not that I haven't tried to go down to local businesses and socialize and network and do all that. I mean, the mental health program can't take responsibility for any of its clients. If the clients want to act, and they can't tell me anything about what happens to the other clients, but I've heard things about people going to jail and stuff like that, especially because of some of the other stuff that they've done. But the mental health program doesn't want to take responsibility for the clients, and yet they might make some stuff up or write some stuff in their notes that you might not agree with. As a matter of fact, I've seen some of the notes that they've written, and I know there's some stuff written in there that I don't agree with from, past case managers and stuff. There were things written in the notes that I don't agree with, and things that they say had happened, or happened the way that they say that happened, when I don't think it really happened that way, or that's not how I remember them. But yeah, that's basically what was written in the notes. So I really needed a lawyer a long time ago. I really needed to start advocating for myself a long time ago, as I started doing advocating work. Probably just 5 years ago, I started doing a lot of advocating work with, advocating for mental health and stuff. And I think that's what caught some of the attention of the mental health, affiliated programs like Advocacy Unlimited and Toivo, when it came to, advocating and trying to step up and be an artist and stuff. But Advocacy Unlimited and Toivo, which are kind of mental health affiliated agencies that work with mental health programs all around Connecticut, and people in mental hospitals and stuff like that, there's conflicts of interest with them because of socialization and things, and because I wanted to be friends with other artists and stuff outside of the mental health program and stuff, because I wanted to be friends with other artists and etc. There's conflicts of interest because, obviously everybody's got to take a professional stance at it, and they got to be professional, and they can't be friends with you after hours and blah, 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 because, I knew them personally beforehand, but yet I find out, when I'm not talking to them, they're taking, Toivo's hiring them, and they're taking jobs with Toivo and stuff, or Advocacy Unlimited, and here I am going to probably have to lose them because of the state of Connecticut anyways, and yet I found some of them to be some of my more influential and more positive friends, and more, upbeat people and inspirational people that were in my life at the time. They weren't not necessarily bad friends. I had a little bit of personal conflict. I don't want to say conflicts of interest, but I had a little bit of personal issues going on between me and one of the publishers, and because I actually liked one of the publishers, I wanted more of a relationship with one of the publishers, or one of the people that was a publisher. I wanted more of a relationship with them, or more of a connection with them. And yeah, sometimes when you mix that little pleasure with business, you tend to get into sticky scenarios and situations. And I will say for that particular instance, I think because I knew that actual person, I got kind of connected to Hartford's Lit, and I was kind of being supported through Hartford's Lit at that time. Obviously, I'm not a black poet. I'm not somebody who speaks too much on black rights, because I'm not black. I'm Italian. I might be Latin a little bit, but my skin color's white, and I'm still Italian, and I still have a lot of European in my blood. So I can't necessarily speak for a black writers group. I can't speak for the black culture. I can't speak for black issues. I can only speak on my mind and how I feel about my life when it comes to black issues regarding, my right to love, and my right to love, and my right to speak, and my right for my rights, and things like that might be affected. But I can't fully go to a protest and stuff and be like, like I'm the king of the world because I'm still a white guy, you know. Um, Not that I even want to, because I really kind of was told I'm not welcome at the protest, or the rallies anyways. And plus, my mother doesn't want me putting myself in any more sticky or upsetting situations, especially if there's rioting and looting like there was before, on the TV and stuff. I forget where that was. It wasn't in Connecticut, but it was somewhere else where there was rioting and looting, and all these people getting pulled in the vans and stuff like that. So, but regardless, I mean, I'm trying to do what I gotta do to just be an artist. I invest in art. I invest in poetry. I try to write. I mean, I try to write from time to time. I mean, I don't do it too much. I mean, I don't do it too much because I have a lot of stuff already written. I mean, I occasionally write a little here and there when I get inspired. I actually thought of a couple other poems I could write, but thing is, I don't want to always post my poems to Facebook. I don't always want to post my poems to Facebook anymore. I kind of want to hold them privately, or hold them in more of a private, personal sense before I kind of release them to the world. I don't want to just put them out there. You know what I'm saying? So, because I want to be able to know that they're in good hands. But but seriously, I'm trying to do the best I can. I'm trying to read, write, and do what I gotta do. I mean, some people put it in my face that you're not even reading all the books that you bought and stuff like that, just assuming that I wasn't reading all the books that I bought, or that I wasn't going to read all the books that I bought. I mean, it may take me a while, but eventually I will read all the books that I bought, The thing about being a book lover and somebody who wants to read books and stuff and read poetry in general is that you can always have more poetry books that you're interested in reading. I mean, you could always want to get more poetry books or more novels or things you want to read. I mean, there's always stuff like that. I mean, it takes a while to read, and you got to make time among everything else, but I will eventually get through everything I have. I mean, I do donate some books, and I have donated some books, but other books I'm keeping because I still wanted to have a library, and I got inspired to have a library, from quarantine, because a lot of people during quarantine that were readers started making libraries at their home and stuff. Plus, from my friends from people who were my friends at Hartford's Lit and stuff like that, I was trying to get involved with reading more and stuff like that. So I got involved. I kind of got the inspiration through some of them that I was going to make a home library and have a lot of anti-racism books and things in the house that were going to be part of my library. And I have shelves of stuff. I have shelves of stuff in here, when it comes to stuff. And people are like, you don't really need any more stuff. You don't need any more stuff, I mean, I could use a bigger apartment, but then a bigger apartment means a bigger rent, and a bigger rent that I might not be able to fully afford right now, I mean, I tell everybody all the time, and the best way to explain me as an artist is I'm an artist that's on a disability. I'm an artist that's on a disability and a low-income American. I'm a low-income American artist on a disability. I mean, I'm an artist and has a disability, but I'm still a writer, and I still write, and I'm still getting published. I'm still doing what I need to do to get my work and myself out there. I'm still doing what I need to do, I mean, I can't help the fact that I'm on disability. I can't help the fact that I have a disability, and I struggle with my mental health the way that I do. I'm always gonna probably do so, and it's gonna be that way until the day that I die. And it's gonna always make my life kind of complicated, and the struggles and challenges more kind of fucked up at times, and probably put me in situations and things I'd rather not be in, and I still rather not be in some of the ones I'm going into now, or some of the situations it seems like I'm going into now, but, it's part of the fucking journey of being, being somebody with a mental health issues that, will never severely go away. And personally, the people are saying some people are saying my mental health is actually semi-severe. It's actually severe. I would say severe or semi-severe. It's pretty much a heavy mental illness that, a heavy unspecified mental illness that seems very much like, kind of like a schizoaffective disorder, but it's really not. It's based off of trauma. whatever it is, it's based off of trauma. It's a whole traumatic thing about trauma and just coping around people. And I've learned that people can be very toxic to my mental health. I mean, the trigger, a lot of times people trigger my mental health. It's not necessarily, you know, a natural and an occurrence of an event or anything. Sometimes those can play into it too, but a lot of times it's the situations with people or my interactions with people that play into how I feel when it comes to not feeling well. You know, I gotta deal with it. I gotta cope. I gotta do what I gotta do. You know, people be like, "Oh, he has a split personality. Oh, he has a split personality. He has this." No, I don't have a split personality. I'm fine. I mean, I've taken things from other people's, you know, styles and stuff, but that doesn't mean I'm trying to be like them and stuff like that. I mean, well, and it doesn't necessarily mean I'm trying to be like them. I'm trying to be inspired by them. And the way to be inspired by them and to be an artist, I mean, basically, I took on some of the hats and like some of like the, you know, some of the looks from some of my favorite artists to come up with mine because, you know, obviously you get inspired by your heroes. You want to take what you like from your heroes and kind of incorporate it into your work and get inspired to incorporate it into your work to be, you know, to be an artist and to be who you want to be, you know, to be inspired by them. I mean, you don't really want to like be them, but you want to be inspired by them, you know. It took me a while because everybody was throwing it in my face like, "Oh, you want to be them? You want to be them?" No, I was heavily inspired by what they were doing, but that doesn't mean I want to be them or go through their struggles. Sometimes I wish I don't have to go through my struggles or what I have to face, and you know, especially with my mental health. But I don't want to be anybody other than myself. Sometimes I really look forward to being myself. Sometimes I sit here and I say, "Thank you, God, for everything." I'm absolutely grateful. I'm absolutely grateful, God, for everything you put my way. I'm grateful for everything you gave me. You know, and other times I'm like, you know, I'm just frustrated because I find myself in these scenarios about my mental health or dealing with mental health programs and situations that just drive me up a fucking wall. Like this past week, you know, like the end of last week into this past week, you know. But I was also kind of getting ready to get my medical shot, which also has a big effect on my mental health and my outlook, you know. For the most part, I'm fine. I got a big glare in my eyes, which I got to clean these glasses too, but I got a big glare in my eyes. That's why I'm not looking at the camera. I got to actually shut that light off. It's kind of affecting my eyesight, you know. But for the most part, I'm really not trying to not work my ass off for where I've been. I mean, I scrounge up bottles and cans. I scrounge up bottles and cans just so I can afford a poetry book I like. You know, I scrounge up bottles and cans just so I can afford a poetry book I like that I can enjoy and I can use to be an artist and I can read at an event or I can read online or I could use it to inspire me to be a writer, you know. I have to save up bottles and cans and stuff from time to time because my money doesn't last the whole time. So if I want like a loaf of bread, I'll spend $1 on a loaf of bread. If I want like a book, I have to save up for the book. I have to do this. I mean, I don't make a lot in cans. Sometimes the most I'll make, I mean, in the past I've actually received cans from others. And during those times I've made over like $10, $20. But for the most I make, if I'm lucky, I might make over $5, but $6 is the most I'll make. If not, I'll make under $5-6 in bottles, and that's not a lot. Making $5-6, you know. I would have to already have had money given to me from other runs I do for neighbors, because I've done runs and stuff for neighbors too. I've gone out and busted my butt for neighbors and come back carrying, you know, a bunch of like toilet paper and stuff for neighbors and doing all that stuff just for a couple of bucks. I mean, my friend Greg the other day said to me, why didn't your neighbor give you like $10 to $20 because you could really use it? But I just shrugged at him and said, I don't know, but I'm doing this run basically for $2, which the $2 is gone, you know. There was $1, it was $1 the other day basically spent at the dollar store because I had to wait for my ride to come back from the mental health office, so I went over to the dollar store, or the Dollar General next door, not even really a dollar store, but the Dollar General next door. I went over there to grab a iced tea and then basically, you know, go sit on a freezing, you know, picnic table area thing until my ride pulled up so I could go home, As soon as I came home, I made myself something to eat, and then I heated up a cup of coffee, and I was pretty much, trying to just get settled in and try to relax a bit more. I mean, I kind of went to bed as early as possible as I could have, that night, but I still, I'm still kind of feeling like I need to get up and hustle right before the holidays. I still need to get food in the house. I still need to do this, and this, and as I said in another post, I don't know if the extra food money is coming in, the extra $95 of food money is coming in for people on low income or struggling families like there has been most of the year, because I don't think it really was posted to the website. I'm going through everything that was posted, and I can't seem to find when we're getting the extra, the extra $95, So, if we're getting the extra $95, if not, I still got to go to a food bank anyways, which I was thinking about going to a food bank, or I was thinking about seeing if I could try to go to a food bank tomorrow, right? Seeing if I could try to go to a food bank tomorrow and see what I could do to go to a food bank tomorrow to get my situation done, so that way I could get a little bit more food in the house before the holidays and stuff. At least if I can get, have them get me a milk, or something like that, so I at least have a milk in the house to make macaroni and cheese or a bowl of cereal. Milk is a staple. I mean, I got eggs, I got butter, but I could use another milk. So, and I don't have the money right now to get another milk. So, things like that, like utilizing a food bank just to see if I could give you milk or a loaf of bread or something is helpful. But, I'm at this point where I don't even know. I mean, I don't even know what to do or what to think, just same shit, different day. Same shit, different day with the state. I gotta struggle most of my life. I gotta struggle, do what I gotta do, But I just look back at my life and say, okay, there's some shit in my life, But there's definitely a lot of skeletons in my closet. There was definitely a lot of situations and skeletons in my closet, but more and more throughout the years, I'm pulling out the skeletons and I'm kind of exterminating the closet, and I'm kind of healing the healing the emotional traumas and wounds and issues that I can basically go in there and heal and pull out of there and try to, exterminate or, eradicate so they're not there anymore, I've been through a lot of deep healing. I've gone through a lot of deep healing. I've gone through, actually the last 5-7 years that I was in therapy was really healing, and actually helped me realize a lot about how humans have the right to, the right of choice and the right of their own control and can do what they want to do, and they can fuck you over without a second thought because they have the free will to do it, but they're not actually free of those choices that they make. If they do something like that, or if they do something that's illegal, they're definitely going to have their freedom taken from them. But at the same time, and when it comes to love, I mean, people have a right to choose and respect and be with the people who they want to be with. You can't make people love you. You can't make people respect you. You can't make people choose you for who you want them to be. Who you want them to be to you. So. But people are free. People are free. I'm free for the most part too. Although some days I don't always feel free. Some days I feel like my freedom is at jeopardy because I work with a mental health system that really will like to take your involuntary take your freedom and take you out of your house or etc. and involuntarily take your freedom to make you feel like you're insane by putting you in a mental hospital or etc. from time to time because they feel you're having a problem or they feel like every time they make you mad or they make you mad and etc. and you get kind of angry about it and stuff, and you seem aggressive, that they can just call the cops, and the next thing you know, it's like, oh, you were just making me feel unsafe because you're a big guy and you were acting all mean, and next thing you know, you can just instantly go to a fucking psych ward and stay there for however many days and possibly almost be admitted, and it's a never-ending fucking cycle. It's my whole life is a never-ending fucking cycle of bullshit, never-ending fucking cycle of bullshit, But I mean, I've tried to work my ass off in life. I've tried to do things. I can't say the mental health systems are fully working and working to my advantage, but I've done what I could to try to work with everything. I've done what done what I could to see where it would take me, but I don't like where certain programs and stuff have taken me, especially for socialization and stuff. So I've chose not to partake in a lot of the socialization ones with other clients and stuff because of the damages and things that have happened. But when it comes to my mental health in general, I mean, I still meet with a doctor. I still meet with the people I need to meet for medical. I got a mentor, which I don't know. The mentor is not necessarily a permanent thing. They say the mentor person is supposed to be with you to teach you on a couple of things and to help you learn a couple of things. The mentor is not going to necessarily be a permanent thing, but it's going to be in your life for a while, so you can learn some stuff, so you can learn how to be independent, to do your own thing and do what you have to do. Kind of like the case manager. The case manager likes to work with you too and help you with entitlements and your money or budgeting or, your bills. But at the same time, if you can control most of your bills and do what you got to do to pay them and be independent, they'd rather have you be independent. But let's put it this way. I'm still going to try to call this Go Gear thing tomorrow, but I have a feeling they might say no because of the storm or something. They might say no because of the storm, or they might say they don't have the time. But I'm going to try to call Go Gear tomorrow just to see if I can get a ride over to the food bank, tomorrow. See if I can get right over to the food bank tomorrow before the storm, because I tried calling my mental health worker. It was about 4:00, and he probably just put his phone down and was probably just going to go home and pretty much retire for the day. I mean, he pretty much will come back into work probably about like 8:00 tomorrow or so. He'll come back into work and he'll log into everything, have his little morning meeting with everybody, and then pretty much check his phone and his messages and see how everything is going from there. But I mean, sometimes the workers are really good. Sometimes they'll be like, well, if we're helping people out right now that need food or need to get food in the house that might need food right before the storm. We're really not going to meet with anybody for anything else, but we're going to help people who might need to get food and stuff really quick. That way you can at least have it and stuff. I mean, they've done. Some people have done that before. Other people might be like, well, he doesn't need food. He doesn't need this. He doesn't need to have this, and he doesn't need any more of this or that. Pretty much just assuming I have everything under control, everything is good in my life, not caring if it's really not, or if it's going to cause any type of turbulence or issues, because they just want to assume and be kind of assholes or asinine about it. But I mean, that's pretty much how the state is, and how everybody talks, and how everybody gets together and as a group and tries to talk about certain things and etc. On the other hand, I was supposed to have a visitor. Today. I was supposed to have a visitor, and they might not come until tomorrow. But then again, we're supposed to expect a snowstorm tomorrow. So I don't know if they're necessarily going to come today, or if I don't know if they're necessarily going to come tomorrow or the day after. They might not because of the snowstorm. They might have to turn back and actually stay home. I have a feeling they're going to have to, especially because they live about an hour or so away. So I mean, if they can't make it down here an hour or so away before the storm and stuff like that, then pretty much they should. They should not come down. I'm all right with taking my time. I mean, I might not be able to really get together with them until after the holidays. Excuse me. I almost might not be able to get together with them until after the holidays, but I am trying to get as much as I can together for myself for the meantime. I mean, I'm starting to finally feel kind of more balanced and together with my situation, with my head and everything, thanks to my medical shop. But at the same time, it's like I'm at that point where it's like, I'm just shaking my head like, okay, I mean, because I know I kind of gave an earful to my mental health worker. I think yesterday or so afternoon, and he kind of got overwhelmed and got kind of like flustered when I told him I was assuming he was taking my money or going to take control of my money and shit like that. They've done that to people in the past, and I don't want them to do that to me, because I for the most part my bills are getting paid. It's usually the savings account, the extra bills. 'Cause the extra bills don't get always get paid because they're extra bills that get thrown in there that they feel like you can magically find some type of way to pay, and that's not always the case. I mean, eventually you got to find a way to do it, but that's not always the case. And then it's my spending lasting me the whole month. But my spending is my spending, and some people in the mental health program have been getting upset because they want to do things with me as like a mentor would do with a client and stuff. But that all comes out of my pocket. So the mentor and everybody's getting upset because it's like you don't have money for this and this and this when we meet. It's like, where did all your money go? What are you spending your money on? What are you doing? What are you doing? It's like, I can't really be independent and hang with my other neighbors and friends, or go do something with my other neighbors and friends, or spend some money for me and on me for my birthday or the holidays or my art and stuff like that without there being some type of issue, which I didn't really like or really take really kindly of my actual mentor this past Friday, so but I just wanted to get that off my chest, I'm getting offline. I'm talking a mile a minute. I need to drink something, and I'm going to go shut this light off over here. I might go lay down. I might call my mom because it's about 8 o'clock. I don't want to call her at like 9 o'clock or so, but just wanted to get all that off my chest. But it's not like I don't work. It's not like I haven't worked before. It's not like I haven't hustled. It's not like I haven't worked, It's not like I haven't tried working for people and stuff like that. I mean, I've tried, but, I mean, obviously, I still struggle with my mental health and a disability for my mental health, and, taking a full-blown job or taking a job where I don't always know what's going on or I don't have the proper training for is just not going to happen. It's just a train wreck happening. I mean, I kind of did say yes to Taquana about trying to take the job and stuff and trying to be kind of open, because I kind of felt that I was kind of saying yes to things that I was agreeing to, that I was going to be able to help her with. But apparently she wanted to go an extra mile. I wanted me to go an extra mile to do a lot of other things too that were really becoming more complicated of me trying to be able to do, and etc., that really just weren't working in my favor, Plus, once I realized she was using me and stuff like that, and she had this attitude and stuff, I walked off the job. I walked off the job within, I didn't show up for the next day of the job. She was nice enough to hire me, and I didn't show up the next day of the job. I kind of said, no, this woman is using me, this woman is trying to abuse me, and it's just like, I can't, I can't. So, anyways, I'm getting offline. Peace.